Okay, you're live.
All right, everyone. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our December 14th, 2021 City Council meeting, our final council meeting of our sitting councilors. January 1st starts the new council moving forward and the new administration. So this evening, in the interest of the government transparency with regards to deliberations and decisions made by the City Council, and according to open meeting law, since this meeting was posted as a Zoom meeting, this meeting will be recorded by video and audio and will be conducted by remote participation. Additionally, all votes taken by the City Council during this and future remote meetings will be by roll call vote. If you're calling in on a phone, you can press *9 to request to speak. And if you're watching on a computer or device, there is a raise hand button that you can tap or press to request to speak. Please use either of these options during oral communications and the public hearings to be recognized to speak. Let me see if we get Jamie on the call here. 979, we do. I'm gonna promote Jamie to a panelist. Jamie, can you hear me?
Yeah.
We have Jamie, thank you. So in attendance tonight,
And I see Senator Tar is on your attendee list as well, Mr. President.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring him in also.
I also see Representative Ferrante is here.
All right, so we may have a
Just joined.
we may have a change of plans for this because Bruce and me and Margaret are here to do certain things. So let's see here. So in attendance this evening, I'm going to start from my upper left-hand corner and work to my bottom right hand. In attendance, we have Councilor Cox, we have Councilor LeBlanc, Councilor Holmgren, Councilor Pett, Councilor Memhard, Councilor Gilman, Councilor Nolan, and Councilor O'Hara. Also in attendance this evening, we have Senator Bruce Tar. We have our state representative, Ann Margaret Ferrante. We have our city auditor, Kenny Costa, and we have our DPW director, Michael Hale. And let's see here. So Madam Clerk, we have our first order of business, please.
Are you going to announce something first?
Yes, I want to announce we have our acting CAO, Christopher Sicarenza, is also with us this evening before I forget. And this evening we are, before we get the meeting going, let's see, so Marianne, for some reason I promoted you to a panelist, so if you want to just kind of hang out with us for a little while, you're more than welcome to. So this evening we are going to announce a couple of things. So people that are on the call don't have to sit around to the public hearing part of things. So the first public hearing for, let's see here, I gotta find it. Well, I'll defer to Council Memhard first because he's got his up and running. Council Memhard.
Thank you. Thank you, Council President, for a little while longer. On the agenda for tonight was a public hearing concerning proposed parking restrictions on the northerly side of Farrington Avenue. That's between Stewart Avenue and Edgemore during the summer when it's used for resident and non-resident parking for Niles Beach. I've asked that this be sent back for further reconsideration by our Ordinance and Administration Committee. The minutes from the previous Traffic Commission meeting on this matter were not available at the time that they met. And I would like to have it sent back so that we can give it a little more thorough vetting and have more community input. There was some misunderstanding about it. And I just think it's important that the public process be followed carefully and we'll have a chance to participate.
Thank you, Scott. And also I'd like to announce that public hearing 2021-032, the zoning dimensional requirements is going to be continued for the building height in excess of 35 feet is going to be continued till January 25th, 2022. So anybody that's here for the meeting of, for the public hearing for the dimensional requirements in Farrington Ave, we are going to continue one and refer one back to Ordinance and Administration. So, you don't have to be with us the whole meeting if you don't want to be. With that being said, Madam Clerk, can I have the first order of business, please?
First order of business is oral communications.
All right, if there's anybody here that would like to speak under oral communications, please raise your hand and I will recognize you to speak.
Steve, I did have my hand up. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I'm sorry, Mary Ann. Yeah, I have you as a panelist, so name and address for the record.
Mary Ann Albert Boucher, 93 Mount Pleasant Avenue. I just wanted to take a moment to say that I appreciate the council maintaining the Zoom format for the last few months. I'm very immune compromised, and it has been I'm very appreciative for it. And I also wanted to take a moment to say that I've learned a lot. I've attended quite a few meetings, most of them. And while I don't always agree with the votes taken, and I've challenged a lot of you for most of these meetings, I just want to say overall, I want to thank everybody, because without resident participation, it just seems like everything would just go through and or just be the council that makes the decisions. And it very much needs to be all of us together. And I just wanted to say thank you. And I hope all of you that are leaving the council really enjoy your time off. And thank you. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Mary Ann. All right. Anybody else that would like to speak under oral communications? If you're calling in, you can press *9. If you're watching, there is a raise hand button to request to speak, to be recognized. Oral communications. All right. Seeing none, we will move forward. So before the meeting started, we had a really quick discussion. We're going to be giving out citations this evening to the counselors that are no longer going to be with us next year. And we thought it was going to be a good idea to put them off to the end. But we do have our Senator Tar here, and Ann Margaret is here also. I'm sure they have a million things to do this evening than to sit through our maybe 2-hour meeting. So we're going to proceed with the citations. So we'll do our council citations first, then I'll hand it over to Senator Tar and Representative Ann Margaret Ferrante. So I'll call on Councilor Cox for the first citation.
All right. Thank you. Be it hereby known to all that the City of Gloucester Council hereby commends Councilor Stephen LeBlanc Jr. Whereas the end of the 2020-21 City Council term means that the Councilor Stephen LeBlanc Jr. will no longer be serving as an elected official in the City of Gloucester. Therefore, we, the members of the City Council, deem it fitting and proper that there be inscribed upon our records our appreciation for the dedicated and valuable service of Councilor LeBlanc. Wherefore, we express our sincere gratitude for his 10 years of service as a councilor and our appreciation for his accomplishments while serving on this body. Furthermore, we also take this opportunity to express our gratitude on behalf of the citizens of Gloucester for his dedicated years of service. Wherefore, we find that whatever the future holds for him in public or private life, we know that the experience he has gained in the council will inspire him to even greater efforts for Gloucester. Signed on this 14th day of December, 2021, the rest of us, not you.
Thank you, Melissa. So I figured Melissa and I are the two longest standing counselors, so I figured we'd go first. Thank you, Melissa. I appreciate it. I'm going to read Melissa's now. So Gloucester City Council citation, be it hereby known to all that the City of Gloucester City Council hereby commends Councilor Melissa Cox, whereas at the end of the 2021 City Council term means that Councilor Melissa Cox will no longer be serving as an elected official in the City of Gloucester. Therefore, we, the members of this Gloucester City Council, deem it fitting and proper that there be inscribed upon our records our appreciation for the dedicated and valuable service of Councilor Cox. Wherefore, we express our sincere gratitude for her 10 years of service as counselor and our appreciation for the accomplishments while she's serving on this body. Furthermore, we also take this opportunity to express our gratitude on behalf of the citizens of Gloucester for her dedicated years of service. Wherefore, we find that whatever the future holds for her in public or private life, we know that the experience she has gained in the council will inspire her to even greater efforts for Gloucester. Signed on this 14th day of December 2021. Ward 1, Councilor Scott Memhard. Ward 2, Councilor Barry Pett. Ward 3, Councilor Stephen LeBlanc. Ward 4, Councilor Val Gilman. Ward 5, Councilor Sean Nolan. At large, Councilor John McCarthy. At large, Jamie O'Hara. At large, Jennifer Holmgren. And at large, Melissa. Well, Melissa doesn't sign her own. So that being said, Melissa, you've done a great job over 10 years and looking forward to private life.
Yes.
Next,
Back
I'm gonna call on Councilor Gilman.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. I have the honor to give Councilor John McCarthy his citation. Gloucester City Council citation, be it hereby known to all that the City of Gloucester City Council hereby commends Councilor John J. McCarthy. Whereas the end of the 2020-2021 City Council means that Councilor John J. McCarthy will no longer be serving as an elected official in the City of Gloucester. Therefore, we are the members of this City Council deem it fitting and proper that there be inscribed upon our records our appreciation for the dedicated and valuable service of Councilor McCarthy. Wherefore, we express our sincere gratitude for his 2 years of service as a councilor and our appreciation for his accomplishments while serving on this body. Furthermore, we also take this opportunity to express our gratitude on behalf of the citizens of Gloucester for his dedicated years of service. Wherefore, we find that whatever the future holds for him in public or private life, we know that the experience he has gained in the council will inspire him to even greater efforts for Gloucester. Signed this 14th day of December 2021. Councilor Memhard, Ward 1 Councilor, Stephen LeBlanc, Council President, and Ward 3 Councilor, Sean Nolan, Ward 5 Councilor, Jennifer Holgram, Councilor at Large, Barry Pett, Ward 2 Councilor, Val Gilman, Council Vice President, and Ward 4 Councilor, Melissa Cox, Councilor at Large, and Jamie O'Hara, Councilor at Large. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Val. Next, I'm going to call Councilor Nolan.
And this goes out to Jen Holgram. Thank you very much for everything you did for the city. Be it hereby known to all the City of Gloucester, City Council hereby commends Councilor Jennifer A. Holgram. Whereas the end of 2020-21 City Council term means that Councilor Jennifer A. Holgram will no longer be serving as an elected official of the City of Gloucester. Therefore, we, the members of the City Council, deem it fit and proper that there be inscribed upon our records in appreciation for the dedicated and valuable service of Councilor Holgram. Wherefore, we express our sincere gratitude for her 4 years of service as a councilor, our appreciation for her accomplishments while serving on this body. Furthermore, we also take this opportunity to express our gratitude on behalf of the citizens of Gloucester for her dedicated years of service. Wherefore, we find that whatever the future holds for her in public or private life, we know the experience she has gained in the council will inspire her to even greater efforts for Gloucester. Signed this 14th day, December 2021, Scott Memhard, Ward 1 Councilor, Stephen LeBlanc, Council President and Ward 3 Councilor, myself, Councilor Nolan, John McCarthy, Council at Large, Barry Pett, Ward 2 Councilor, Valerie Gilman, Council President, Vice President and Ward 4 Councilor, Melissa Cox, Councilor at Large, Jamie O'Hara, Councilor at Large, and thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Up next, we have Councilor Memhard. Nope, you're on mute, Scott. Scott, we can't hear you. Attaboy.
Want to hear me as well? Huh?
We can read your lips because we've already read it a bunch of times, but we're good.
Yeah, I tried to pull it off silently.
Thanks.
So I was saying that last but certainly not least, this is for Barry. Be it hereby known that all the City of Gloucester City Council hereby commends Councillor Barrett S. Barry Pett, whereas the end of the 2020-2021 City Council term means that Councillor Barry Pett will no longer be serving as an elected official in the City of Gloucester. Therefore, we, the members of the City Council, deem it fitting and proper that there be inscribed upon our records our appreciation for the dedicated and valuable service of Councillor Pett. Wherefore, we express our sincere gratitude for his 2 years of service as councillor and our appreciation for his accomplishments while serving on this body. Furthermore, we take this opportunity to express our gratitude on behalf of the citizens of Gloucester for his dedicated years of service. Wherefore, we find that whatever the future holds for Mr. Pett in public or private life, we know that the experience that he has gained in the council will inspire him to even greater efforts for Gloucester. Signed this 14th day of December, all the rest of us.
Thank you, Scott. And before I hand it over to Senator Tarr and Rep. Ferrante, just one more city council business. We'd like to give a citation from the city council to Mayor Taken. And this citation goes to Safathia Romeo Taken, whereas at the end of the 2021 term means Mayor Safathia Romeo Taken will no longer be serving as an elected official for the city of Gloucester. Therefore, we, the members of the city council, deem this fitting and proper that they be inscribed upon our records of appreciation for the dedicated and valuable service of Mayor Taken. Wherefore, we express our sincere gratitude for her years of service as a city councilor and as mayor, and our appreciation for her devoted skills and energy for the city of Gloucester and the people of Gloucester. Furthermore, we also take this opportunity to express our gratitude on behalf of the citizens of Gloucester and for her dedicated years of service. Wherefore, we find that whatever the future holds for her in her public or private life, we know that the experience she has gained as an elected official will inspire her, giving greater effort to the city of Gloucester, and signed by the entire city council. So, Mayor Taken, thank you. We know you're not here this evening, and we wish you the best. And this is our gratitude from the city council to Mayor Taken. At this time, I will hand it over to Senator Tarr.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and through you to the members of the council. And thank you for this opportunity for the legislative delegation to join with all of you in recognizing our colleagues on the city council and our mayor who are leaving these roles very shortly. And Mr. President, I want to take the opportunity to say thank you to all of the members of the city council. Representative Ferrante and I very much cherish our working relationship with all of you and the partnership that we have to be able to work on a whole variety of issues that affect the community, and in turn in getting your advice on issues that affect the entire Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And because we have the friendships and the partnerships we do, I believe we are more effective for the people that we collectively represent. And so we too appreciate the opportunity to say thank you to our departing council members and our mayor. And so we also have citations, and I'm going to read them in just a moment. And I'm going to try to, so that we economize on our use of time, read one of each and then list all of the names so that we can move forward in an efficient way. But I want to make a point that being a city councilor is a particularly important job. And it's a job where you wind up dealing with a variety of complicated and sensitive issues. It takes much more time out of your life than just a few hours, maybe many more than that on a Tuesday night. It is much more than that. You are the face of municipal government. You are the people that get called. You are the people that spend time on subcommittee meetings and doing research and on site visits. And you have to have a tremendous amount of commitment to serve on this council. And I know oftentimes that means sacrificing other parts of busy lives, and it also means sacrificing being away from family and friends to be able to serve the community and to be able to make Gloucester stronger and better and more prosperous. And I think particularly it's important to remember that you have all been leaders in one of the most challenging times in the history of our lives, and certainly in the history of the nation, with regard to the COVID-19 pandemic. It has been uncharted territory for all of us, and we have all had to work together and pull together to find the very best within ourselves to be able to move forward and address things from making sure that we had good public health situations in Gloucester, that restaurants were able to survive, and the special accommodations that you made for them have been important, and retailers, and making sure that we continue to support our employer community and the employees who are so very important. And all of you have done that. And again, there's been no roadmap, and we have all had to find our way forward, and this council has done that. And it's also done that with Mayor Taken at the helm as our mayor. So I want to express my gratitude for all of the time and the energy and the effort, and also the compassion and caring that you have given to our community, particularly at this most challenging time for Gloucester and 350 other cities and towns all across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It is not lost on Representative Ferrante or me the amount of sacrifice and the amount of commitment and the amount of service that you have given to our community. And for those that are departing, we want to say thank you in particular, and know that we look forward to continuing our friendships and our relationships with you. And as the council citations noted, we know that you will all continue to contribute to the community in one way or another. And we want you to know that we stand ready to continue to work with you and support you in those endeavors, and continue to be partners, even though the official relationship may be changing. The unofficial relationship and the friendships are not. And so we do have citations. I'm going to read one, and I'm going to show you what they look like. I wish that we had a connection where I could just feed this through the computer and you could each receive it, but we'll make sure to get these, if it's okay with you, Mr. President, to Joanne, to our city clerk, in the hope that they can be appropriately distributed to the recipients.
Yes, sir.
But these, thank you. These read as follows. From the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the State Senate, official citation, and they read, be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to Jennifer A. Holmgren, to John J. McCarthy, to Barrett S. Pett, and to Stephen LeBlanc in recognition of your years of dedicated and committed service as a member of the Gloucester City Council. And be it further known that the Massachusetts Senate extends its best wishes for continued success, that this citation be duly signed by the President of the Senate and attested to, and a copy thereof transmitted by the Clerk of the Senate. And just as your council citations noted, we wish all of you the very best for your future endeavors. And these are signed by our Senate President, Karen Spilka. They're attested to by Michael Hurley, and I am proud to offer them, along with all of my Senate colleagues, on December 14th of 2021. Now, Representative Ferrante and I also made a request, and the request was enthusiastically granted by the governor and the lieutenant governor. So we also have for you citations from them, and they read from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, again to John J. McCarthy, Jennifer A. Holmgren, Barrett S. Pett, and Stephen LeBlanc. These citations, which read, on behalf of the citizens of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, I am pleased to confer upon you this governor's citation in recognition of your years of dedicated and committed service to the city of Gloucester and the Gloucester City Council, given this 14th day of December in the year 2021 by Charles D. Baker, Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and Karen E. Polito, Lieutenant Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Now, Mr. President, we also have similar citations for our mayor, which read in recognition of her service and her dedicated and committed service to the city of Gloucester in the office of mayor. We have those from the Massachusetts State Senate and from the governor and lieutenant governor. I know that Ann Margaret is going to, in just a moment, present hers. So before I hand it back to you, Mr. President, I just again want to say thank you. This is probably the last time we will all collectively talk before the holidays. And so I also want to wish everyone a very, very Merry Christmas and happy holiday season and a happy and prosperous new year.
Thank you, Bruce, and we appreciate it. And I don't know if it was just you overlooked it or you don't want Counselor Cox to step away from her role as city councilor. But you missed her twice.
You know, I don't know how that happened, but I appreciate the reminder. And it was, no, it's just hard to believe that Councilor Cox is leaving the city council. So let me also say that, you know, we also have, and I'm trying to find it in my pile here, and I apologize because I'm trying to shuffle a lot of paper here. But also, let me see. I know I have it. I know it's here.
I don't want you to get a paper cut. I think we're good.
No, Melissa, I want to make sure that I, you know, so just, I think you were actually the very last one that I did not get to, and here we go. So you get a special reading as a result of this. So be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to Melissa Cox, the Gloucester City Council, in recognition of your years of dedicated and committed service as a member of the Gloucester City Council. And be it further known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its best wishes for continued success, that this citation be duly signed by the President of the Senate and attested to, and a copy thereof transmitted by our clerk. And again, this is signed by our Senate President, Karen Spilka, attested to by our clerk, and proudly offered by myself on December 14th of 2021. Now, in the next citation, Melissa, when we went to get this from the governor, it took a little bit of time because he said, no, she's not leaving the council. I don't believe it. No, she actually is. So on behalf of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, for Melissa Cox, on behalf of the citizens of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, I am pleased to confer upon you this governor's citation in recognition of your years of dedicated and committed service to the city of Gloucester and the Gloucester City Council on the 14th day of December in the year 2021 by Charles D. Baker, Governor of the Commonwealth, and Karen E. Polito, Lieutenant Governor of the Commonwealth.
Thank you, Senator. I'm sorry to have missed your toy drive Saturday, but all I gotta say to that is go Navy.
Oh,
Well, I appreciate that, but Melissa, in your absence at the toy drive, it was unanimously voted that if we raise enough money next year, you are going to be the designated singer of Dominic the Donkey.
there you go.
Oh, boy, I guess I'm gonna have to learn the lyrics then.
We can help with that.
You're a
So
professional.
we have to help to make sure that she gets to sing next year. So whatever you need from us, please let us know.
Thank you very much, Steve. And again, thank you for the opportunity to be with you tonight and to be taken out of turn at the beginning of the meeting in recognition of our schedules. I deeply appreciate it. And I want to make sure that we also get to hear from Ann Margaret, who I know is standing by.
Thank you. Representative Ferrante.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I'm beginning to think that he might have missed that last citation there with the intent of, he's just so good at doing these telethons and what have you, that I think he was missing the telethon a little bit tonight. And so always, as always, and I say this very affectionately, always good words from our senator. And I too want to thank you all, to you, Mr. Chairman, and through you to the members of this council. It's a bittersweet moment because we have enjoyed working with all of you over the years. And, you know, one thing that the senator mentioned that I'd like to just echo here is that I don't think anybody could have foreseen what it would be like to govern during a pandemic. And all of you have risen to the occasion. I'm always impressed every year, each and every year, of the level of service that everybody gives to the city of Gloucester. That's an elected official. And the senator's right, it's not easy. There's sacrifice involved, there's challenges involved. Sometimes you get paid, as they like to say, the big bucks for making the difficult decision, because there are people that are always on the sidelines that will say to me, and I'm sure will say to you, that they're not envious sometimes of the decisions that have to be made. And sometimes they're all good viewpoints that are brought up. And as you know, we we struggle to make those decisions under certain circumstances. But you showed up, you came to the council meetings in a pandemic. You figured out how to put every meeting on Zoom to make sure that the public was heard through controversy, through difficult decision, through challenges, to make sure that the good work was done on behalf of the citizens of Gloucester. And as your state representative and as a resident of Gloucester, I really want to thank you for all of the work that you did, not only in these 2 years, but as you mentioned, Mr. President, some of you have served for much longer. And when you think about it, you mentioned that you and Melissa, Councilor Cox, have been there for the longest at a decade. And that's a lot of service. It's a lot of sacrifice. It's a lot of meetings. And as was mentioned, it's not just the bi-weekly meetings of the city council, but it's the site visits. It's the subcommittee meetings. It's the public hearings that go above and beyond just the duties of the meetings every other week. And you did that, you put the time in. There's lots of charities that you come out to support. There's a lot of activities that you come out to support. And I just want to thank you for all of the work that you did, in addition to being city councilors, but also being good residents to the city of Gloucester. I too have citations. I'm just going to read one and insert many names. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the House of Representatives, be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Councilor LeBlanc, Councilor Cox, Councilor Pett, Councilor McCarthy, Councilor Holmgren, in recognition of your service to the city of Gloucester, and above all else, your love for the city of Gloucester. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all endeavors. I'm sure that we'll all be seeing each other around, even if you don't carry the current title of counselor. I look forward to continuing to work with you. And it's given on this day at the State House, signed by Ronald Mariano, Speaker of the Massachusetts House, and offered very proudly and appreciative by me and Margaret Ferranti, State Representative. Again, thank you for having us and including us in this meeting. And I wish you the very happiest New Year and the very happiest holidays.
Thank you, and Margaret. And Bruce, thank you also. We appreciate you guys taking your time out, not only today, this evening, to come here and speak with us, but Bruce, the past few days, you and I back and forth planning this to get everybody on board. And we really appreciate your time, the efforts. And Margaret, I don't know the big bucks, because I must have missed the bus on that one. We're making decisions because you don't make big bucks on city council, but I understand the term. But thank you guys. We appreciate everybody here tonight, and kudos to you guys. Keep up the great work. And this is our last council meeting, and I'm sure that we'll all get together after this and have a drink at some point.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We look forward to that, and we look forward to seeing everyone enjoy the holiday season and beginning a very prosperous new year very soon in our all respective roles, whatever they might be. And we are confident and happy that our paths will cross again in the future.
I'm sure they will. Thank you, folks. All right, Madam Clerk, can we have the next order of business, please?
The next order of business is the update from the administration on the downtown parking meters and kiosks.
All right, let's see here. John, we have our CFO, John Dunn. John, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you
Great.
hear me?
Yes, sir. Proceed.
Well, thank you. So I apologize for coming on in phone. I was not able to log on with my laptop. So anyway, as you all know, the kiosks are installed downtown. We are transitioning from kiosk land or from parking meter land to kiosk land. We think that this is a good choice. Unfortunately, when the project did not go along as well as we thought when the kiosks were originally ordered, there was a snafu, and they didn't come in with change meters. So we had to reorder the kiosks at no addition, except for the change meters, no additional cost to us. But somehow the original order did not include those change meters, and those kiosks could not be retrofitted. But they are pretty much installed at this point. They do work. They will accept change. They will accept credit cards. They are logged into an app that allows you to basically go on through this app and basically, put your license plate number in, and, update your information as time goes on. So if you're out at a particular restaurant or a particular shop and you've only put in an hour of time, you are able to update that through that app. So what is remaining on the street are the meters and the meter heads. Those will be coming down over the next week or two, and eventually all of those meter heads will be removed, all of the posts will be removed, and that all that will be remaining on the street is the kiosks. So we're hoping that this is going to transition into something that is much easier for citizens, visitors, merchants to be able to use. We do acknowledge that probably not every one of the kiosks is in the right place, but we will be watching that and moving those things back and forth as necessary. There are probably 70 plus kiosks on the street. There are a small number of kiosks still over at DPW that we can move around, and we're just hoping that as we transition into the future and watch for usage, that everybody will be pretty much satisfied with how this works.
All right, thank you, John. Do we have any questions for John? Councilor Cox?
Hi, John. Thank you for taking the time out of your evening for this presentation. I know you didn't necessarily have to be here for this meeting. We've lost a lot of revenue in the first 6 months of the fiscal year. Do you see that going to be a problem towards the end of the year when we're tying up revenues to match our expenses?
Well, I guess no, I don't. We're pretty conservative in terms of projecting revenues, in the budget each year. We do know that there will be, some revenues that are projected that will fall short, but we also are pretty confident that there's a number of revenues that will exceed budgeted expectations. So, in the end, we've been pretty good through the past 5 or 6 years of, being, pretty well on the plus side of the total revenues as expected. And we would anticipate that to happen again this year. Now, again, there's all sorts of things that could happen. For example, beach parking this past summer, I think there were like 27 days of rain in July. So, that's going to have an effect. We're probably going to lose some revenue in terms of on-street parking, but also, there's going to be some increase due to, issuing tickets. So, I'm pretty hopeful that throughout this fiscal year, ending June 30 of 2022, that we'll be in good shape.
Okay, thank you. My biggest concern with that is, our typical July revenues are August revenues are anywhere from 25 to 30,000 per month. And July of 21, we took on, for everything so far that we've got accounted, we've taken in less than 8,000. So, this isn't just going to be a small shortfall. It's going to be a big hit to our revenues. So I know that you are very good at what you do as far as forecasting, but I don't think this was a forecastable event. So let's just hope building permits can carry the parking revenue this year.
Just one comment on that, Counselor. What you took a look at was really just the information from the kiosks, and that did not include the information from actually the parking meters, which were still being used. So there is still that there that is going on, so that will kind of fill in a little bit on what we're missing, coming through the kiosks.
Right. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
Councilor Pat, you had your hand up, and then Councilor Memhard.
Yeah, just a quick question. I'm not sure whether this is for John to address or maybe Chris. I know he's been working on it, but when we were talking about there still being some kiosks, to be placed, and some may have to be moved around, et cetera. Where should we direct our input? If we get it from citizens or if we have it ourselves, should it go to the administration in the mayor's office? Should it go to the DPW? Where should we direct that information going forward?
So I think that information should be directed to the mayor's office. So one of the things that we want to do is the parking enforcement people who are on the street, as well as the person who does the collections. They're going to be, gathering some data as we move forward, and be able to say that, that maybe we don't need a kiosk in this place, but we do need a kiosk in another place. So if anybody has, input on that, certainly send it along to the mayor's office, and we'll put that together with what we're seeing on the street and try to do the best we can to make sure everything is efficient.
Okay. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Barry. Councilor Memhard.
John, and also the administration, I'd just like to thank you and express the gratitude of the citizens and the shopkeepers and the tourists coming into Gloucester, because I think that this technology upgrade and the convenience of it, using credit cards and having that remote access with your telephone, is a very citizen and tourist friendly step, and it really reflects the city moving forward. My only follow-up to that compliment would be to, again, put a little tickle for our beach parking revenues being likewise accommodated with a planned electronic system that reduces the amount of cash that's handled.
And yes, Counselor, there is a we're talking about plans in order to be able to do that. Yes.
Thank you.
All right, any other councilor questions before we move on? All right, seeing none. Before we move on with the next order of business, I just want to recognize a few people that keep coming into our meeting. Before we move on, we have our harbor master, TJ Shimataro. I should have announced him earlier. He's been here from the beginning. Our superintendent, Ben Lummis. We have several members of the Waterways Board. We have our counselor-elect, Tony Gross. We have Mark Lacey. Let's see, Karen Tibbetts. Let's see, we have Jacob
Councilor-elect
Billings. When we have our council-elect Frank Majota, council-elect Jason Grow. We have our school committee member Kathy Clancy, and we have our DPW, my go-to person, Rose LaPiccolo. So I just want to make sure we get everybody that's on the call this evening up and running. So, Madam Clerk, next order of business, please. And thank you, John, for joining us tonight.
The next order of business is the consent agenda.
All right, are there any councilors that would like to remove anything from this evening's consent agenda? Councilor Holmgren.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Very quickly, I just wanted to tell you guys about a report that starts on page 70. It's for information only. It's regarding the ad hoc committee to evaluate the feasibility of constructing an assisted living residence in Gloucester to help meet the housing and care needs of Gloucester residents. And this was ordered by Councillor Gilman and Councillor Lundberg, actually in our last term. This committee plugged away at it diligently, and then COVID hit. And I have to give Sunny Robinson so much credit for continuing to keep the ball in the air. She helped us stay focused on the task, and a lot of information was garnered from the work that we did. The committee consisted of Jen Beloff, the Director of Housing and Client Services at Action, Karen Carroll, our former Health Director, David Holden, the Executive Director of Gloucester Housing Authority, Scott Trenty, the Executive Director of Senior Care, Sunny Robinson, Greg Catamartori, our City Planner, and Rick Noonan, the Chair of our Planning Board. And we met many times, at least once a month for almost a year. So if you are interested, please take a look. It's 3 pages long. It's succinct. And certainly it points to a need for assisted living residents, but perhaps different from the traditional model, which is not affordable for most Gloucester residents. So thank you very much. That is all.
Thank you, Jen. So that was for informational purposes only for the removal from the consent agenda. Anybody else that would like to remove anything from this evening's consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept it as is.
So moved.
Second,
All right, it's been moved by Councilor Cox, seconded by Councilor Gilman. And I will ask for the roll call. Councilor Holmgren,
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc, yes. Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Memhard,
Yes.
Councilor Nolan,
Yes.
Councilor O'Hara. Jamie's on the call, so I'll give him a second to press the mute button. All right. I'll circle back to Councilor O'Hara. Councilor Pat,
Yes.
Councilor Cox,
Yes.
Councilor Gilman,
yes.
and once again, Councilor O'Hara for the consent agenda. All right, motion passes on a roll call vote of 8 in favor, 1 technical difficulties. Well, I'm not going to miss the technical difficulty part of this thing. Thank God. Madam Clerk, next order of business, please.
Next order of business is the Budget and Finance Standing Committee report of December 9th.
And I will hand it over to our Budget and Finance Chair, Councilor Cox.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. I present to you a consent agenda for all matters that were not for a public hearing. If anybody would like to pull anything, now would be the time, or forever hold your peace. Seeing none, I move the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, motion's been made by Councilor Cox, seconded by Councilor Memhard. Any discussion, Councilor Cox?
Just a grant and a couple donations. So we're appreciative of all of them.
All right, any other councilor discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the roll. Councilor Holmgren,
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc, yes. Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Memhard,
Yes.
Councilor Nolan,
Yes.
Councilor O'Hara. All right, I'll circle back to Jamie. Councilor Pat,
Yes.
Councilor Cox,
Yes.
Councilor Gilman,
Yes.
and once again, Councilor O'Hara. Jamie, can you hear me? If you can hear me, you might want to try to call back in and we'll get you back in so that way. I'm not sure if you're in a bad area. You're not getting a cell signal or what, but motion passes on a roll call vote of 8 in favor, 1 technical difficulties. Madam Clerk, next order of business, please.
Is the Ordinance and Administration Standing Committee report of December 6th.
Our Ordinance Administration Chair, Councilor Nolan.
There is no motions for tonight.
All right, Madam Clerk, next order of business.
The Planning and Development Committee did not meet on December 8th, so it'll be the first scheduled public hearing. Public hearing 2021-032, rezoning 2021-003 in accordance with Gloucester zoning ordinance, section 111(2), parentheses A, amend Gloucester zoning ordinance sections 2.31 residential uses, 3.2 dimensional table, 3.2.2 dimensional requirements for multifamily dwellings and their accessory uses other than signs, and section 3.1.6B, building heights in excess of 35 feet.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I will open the public hearing and continue this till January 25th, 2022. So this public hearing has been continued till next month, January 25th, 2022, for those interested this evening. Madam Clerk, next order of business, please.
Is public hearing 2021-033, amend Gloucester Code of Ordinances, Chapter 22, Traffic and Motor Vehicles, Section 22-270, parking prohibited at all times, and Section 22-291, tollway zones by adding Farrington Avenue northerly side from its intersection with Eastern Point Boulevard in an easterly direction to its intersection with St. Louis Avenue.
All right, so we had a brief discussion before the meetings, well, at the beginning of this meeting. So I'm going to hand this over to Councilor Memhard.
Thank you very much, Council President LeBlanc. As I mentioned before, there's some degree of confusion about this matter and some pushback on social media and otherwise. I know a number of you have been contacted by concerned constituents who weren't clear what was being proposed, which is a restriction of parking on the northerly side between Stewart Avenue and Edgemore. And I'm going to request, in the interest of transparency, because the Traffic Commission meeting minutes on this matter, which had a good public turnout at the time with the butters and neighbors, had not been issued, was not released, so it wasn't available for the public or for the Ordinance and Administration Committee. That this matter be referred back to Ordinance Administration so we may have a fuller fleshing out of the public's concerns and before it's before a public hearing or a council vote. And that's my request.
Thank you, Scott. Joanne, do we have to vote on this going back to O&A? All right, you want to make that in a motion? You can move it, Scott.
Yes, I'd like to request that said motion about parking restrictions on Farrington Avenue be referred back to our Council Ordinance and Administration Subcommittee for further review. And I so move.
Second.
All right, it's
Second.
been moved by Councilor Memhard, seconded by Councilor Holmgren. Thank you, Jen. All right, so this is going to be referred back out to Ordinance Administration with this council vote. So it'll be completely vetted and hopefully it comes back with different language that everybody can agree on. Does everybody understand the vote? All right, Councilor Holmgren,
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc, yes. Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Memhard,
Yes, thank you.
Councilor Nolan,
Yes.
Councilor O'Hara. We have Jamie. Jamie, can you hear me? All right, he's on the call. Councilor Pat,
Yes.
Councilor Cox,
Yes.
and Councilor Gilman.
Yes.
All right, motion passes on a roll call vote of 8 in favor, 1 technical difficulties. Councilor O'Hara is not on the call anymore. He is an attendee with his phone on so we can see him. So hopefully he'll get a little better service and we'll be able to get him up and running on this meeting. Madam Clerk, next order of business, please.
Public hearing 2021-027, loan order 2021-004. Loan authorization request in the amount of $410,000 for the purchase of a new Harbor Master patrol boat. And this was continued from the November 9th, 2021 City Council meeting.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So I will open the public hearing and ask if there's, so before we start the public hearing, and this is going to go for all public hearings this evening, just to set up a little bit of guidelines. The proponent will get up to 15 minutes if needed. The opponent will get up to 15 minutes if needed. If one goes over, we'll give the time back and forth to the other way. There'll be time for rebuttal, and then everybody else will get 3 minutes to speak after that. If it gets repetitive over the 3 minutes, we'll ask to cut back down to 2 minutes or 1 minute, so that way we can get through everybody. I'm sure that there's not a lot of people here this evening, but that's usually rules of procedure for public hearings. So is there anybody that would like to speak in favor of this evening? Our Harbor Master, TJ Shimataro, is here with us this evening. Go ahead, TJ.
Good evening, everybody. This has been in the works for quite some time now. It's been back and forth to the Waterways Board and to subcommittees to Budget and Finance. We are looking to purchase a new patrol boat for the city. This is a long-term asset with 20+ years of longevity. So it's not a small purchase, but it is a long time purchase. We have chosen Safe Boat International, who's kind of the industry standard and leader in building these boats. Salem just took possession of a very similar boat, the Salem Harbor Master's Office, on Wednesday. They had been waiting almost 20 months for their boat due to some supply chain issues, and Marshfield is taking delivery of theirs next Friday. These are pretty standard pieces of equipment throughout the Commonwealth and throughout the whole United States. In fact, we have one very similar, the Gloucester Police Boat, which is rounding about 15 years old now, which is still in service, getting repowered. So that's just a testament to the longevity of these assets. We came out very favorably in the Waterways Board and our Ops Budget and Finance Committee. And we're looking for, positive vote tonight to purchase this. It's about 14 to 18 months out is what they're telling me by the time we take delivery of this. So this is probably not going to show up for another, year and a half to 2 years, unfortunately. But a positive vote tonight will move us forward into a purchase order that we'll be able to open and get in the build queue at least, so we can get this moving forward. The asset that we're trying to replace is almost 30 years old. It's at the end of its service life. I don't think personally it's going to make it until we get this new boat, but there will be a gap. There's probably going to be a gap in coverage as far as a foul weather asset goes, but we'll work out something maybe with the police department and an MOU type of deal for emergencies in the interim. That's pretty much all I have for you guys tonight. So thank you very much.
All right, TJ, thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak in favor of this evening? We have our Chairman of the Waterways Board, Tony Gross. Tony, can you hear me?
Yeah, hi, Steve, thanks. Can you
Name
hear
and
me?
address, name and address for the record, please.
Tony Gross, 18 Nashua Avenue, Gloucester, Massachusetts.
Thank you, Tony. Go ahead.
So as TJ pointed out, this is going to be a great long-term asset for that department and for the city. We looked at other manufacturers, and nobody measured close to the durability, the ruggedness, and the utility of this vessel. The Waterways Board did trim the budget a little bit, but on the advice of the city CFO, he said leave it at the 410,000 because you don't have to borrow up to that amount, but you're better off not having to go backwards and ask for more money. It's better to stay where you are. So we're hoping to come in a little underneath that dollar amount. And we had, lots of discussions. This is at present, this is going to come out of the Waterways Enterprise Fund, be bonded against the fund. And so it'll be no burden on the city budget. Any questions?
We'll get to council questions shortly, Tony. We're getting into
Okay.
the public hearing part of it first. Anybody else that would like to speak in favor of this? If you're calling in, you can press *9 to be recognized to speak. And if you are watching, there is a raised hand button to be recognized to speak. Now's the time. If you'd like to speak in opposition, you can also raise your hand at this time. It doesn't have to be in favor. It can also be in opposition. All right, seeing no one else. Hold on one sec. Seeing no one else, Madam Clerk, do we have any communications?
There are none.
All right, do we have any councilor questions? Councilor Gilman.
Thank you. I just have a short question, and that is if we are able to get the port security grant in late February or early March, are there any things that this future council needs to know about that transaction?
Yes, so we do fully intend on applying for a port security grant, which is a 50-50 match for all intents and purposes. That's usually what it comes out to. That'll be announced in February. It can be used against this debt service for this vessel at a later date, since we're not going to take possession of it for about 18 months, 14 to 18 months, maybe even longer. So that'll be a 50-50 match. If we're successful, that's a highly competitive grant. So we're going to bring in some outside consultants on this that we've already been back and forth with, and we intend to hire. That'll be paid for again through the Waterways Enterprise Fund through my budget. So hopefully we're successful. There are different the spirit of the grant each year for port security grant. So some years they fund equipment like this. Some years they fund smaller pieces of equipment. Some year they fund infrastructure, such as like Homeland Security cameras and stuff like that. So we'll have to wait and see, but we do fully intend on applying for this grant. Yes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Val. Councilor Pett and then Councilor Memhard.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. My question to TJ is sort of on the same vein as Councilor Gilman in finding, funding sources for some of this. I know you've spent a lot of time and effort in doing so, and I understand that hopefully this port security grant will come to fruition and maybe cut the costs almost in half here. And I just wanted to make sure that we're working with our state partners and everything, and trying to find ways to reduce this. I know if it's done in a bond, at least we can continue to find ways to cut the cost. I'm totally in support of the need for the vessel and for the service that's provided by the harbor master. I'm just hoping we can cut down the long-term costs as we go forward. So I'm just asking, hopefully, that you're going to continue to look at things like the port security grants and other things through our state partners going forward.
Yes, we are.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Barry. Councilor Memhard.
Thank you. I'm not sure if the scope of the description of the purchase includes or does not yet include a fire pump or firefighting apparatus. It seems like this is an important long-term asset that will play an important role in our harbor and our community for decades to come. And just concerned that it be of maximum utility in terms of public safety.
So right now that price, it is less than $410,000. And as Tony just explained, the bond is for more than that. In that price currently is not funding for a fire pump. That's going to be around $60,000 to $68,000, depending on configuration. We do have plenty of time to identify more funding for this. By the, assuming tonight I get a positive vote out of the full council, and we are able to get a purchase order in, that's kind of when we start the design and like the layout and the contracts and so on and so forth. It's about a month-ish process by the time that all starts and we get renderings and drawing. Again, this is a purpose-built, custom boat. So we do have some time to identify some more money, maybe with free cash purchase through the general fund. I know that the Waterways Board, and I think Tony could speak to this a little more, and I believe he did during BNF, that everyone was in agreement that the fire pump isn't utilized by the harbor master. We do have an MOU with the fire department. So we don't feel it's necessary or appropriate that the Waterways Enterprise Fund, who isn't we don't fight fires. Our master's office is not a firefighting agency. But I do understand your concern, and it's legitimized, you know, it is a long-term asset for the city, so some talk about it being maximized is appropriate, but it's, I don't believe it's appropriate to be paid for out of the Waterways Enterprise Fund. Additionally, fire pumps are in saltwater are very arduous in maintenance. As you can imagine, valves, pumps, springs, gaskets in a saltwater environment. So there's some additional costs every year for maintenance of this piece of equipment and additional training. So some other things are going to need to be identified pertaining to that. But if that's something that the new administration would like to fund, we're obviously open to it. But it will not be funded, I don't believe, out of the Waterways Enterprise Fund. So,
Thank you for your response, and thank you also for the thorough and careful vetting that you've presented the Budget and Finance Committee about this matter. And I'm regretful that we weren't able to process it more promptly, but it's just important that we do this right. And
Sure.
this is an important investment. But thank you for your very thorough and clear presentations.
absolutely. Thank you, Counselor.
Tony, would you like to speak on this? Tony, can you hear me?
How's that? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry about that. TJ surmised that pretty well about the fire pump. You know, what we're buying is an asset for the waterway, for the Harbor Master Department. And if you add a fire pump, then it becomes a city asset. And that includes the platform that pump is on. And as TJ so well put, the maintenance of that and all of that probably is not a proper use of enterprise fund money. So all that will need to be worked out, but I don't see any problem in working that out. It's just that those Ts need to be crossed and those Is need to be dotted. Also, you know, since this has taken a while, I was wondering if it would be, if the council would consider voting this for reconsideration, so we could possibly get moving on it as quickly as possible.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right. Any other councilor questions? All right. Seeing none, I will refer to our Budget and Finance Chair, Councilor Cox. Oh,
Did you
hold on,
close the public hearing?
Let me close. I was just about to do that. I'll close the public hearing and refer it out to our Budget and Finance Chair, Councilor Cox.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony, for the reconsideration request. That was definitely already on my notes to do so tonight. All right. Without objection, I'm ready to read the motion. If
Proceed.
there's no further discussion. Great. I recommend that the city council approve the following loan authorization as follows. Ordered that the city of Gloucester appropriates $410,000 to pay costs of the purchase of a new harbor master patrol boat, including costs incidental or related thereto. To make this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the mayor, is authorized to borrow said amount under pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 7, or pursuant to any other enabling authority. The mayor and any other appropriate official of the city are authorized to apply for, accept, and expend any grants or gifts that may be available to the city to pay costs of the projects. Any premium received by the city upon the sale of any bonds or notes approved by this vote, less any premium applied to the payment of the cost of issuance of such bonds or notes, may be applied to the payment of costs approved by this vote in accordance with Chapter 44, Section 20 of the general laws, thereby reducing the amount authorized to be borrowed to pay such costs by a like amount. Further ordered that the treasurer is authorized to file an application with the Municipal Finance Oversight Board to qualify under Chapter 44A of the general laws, any or all of the bonds authorized by this order, and to provide such information and execute such documents as the Municipal Finance Oversight Board may require for these purposes, and I so move.
Second,
Motion's been made by Councilor Cox, seconded by Councilor Memhard. Any councilor discussion? Councilor Gilman?
Yeah, I will be absolutely supporting this. Having sat in on a few of the BNF meetings when this was being discussed, I totally appreciate the diligence of Councilor Cox, Memhard, and McCarthy to look very closely at the ordinance for the Waterways Board and to clearly then ask that we look at that very closely in terms of it coming out of the enterprise fund. And I know that that was one of the reasons for the delay, but I think that it was really well worth the delay. And I appreciate the collaboration with the Waterways Board and with our harbor master to get to where we are. So I undoubtedly will be supporting this. It's needed and it's appreciated. So thank you.
Thank you, Val. Council McCarthy?
Yeah, I too will be supporting it. I'm glad that we took the time to vet this and to get all our ducks in a line on this. I think TJ didn't mention all, but the company they hired initially pointed out about 5 different sources of possible supplemental funding for this boat. I think it's important that the city look into the outfitting the boat with a fire pump. And I think what TJ has said and Tony has said is absolutely correct. That shouldn't be part of the Waterways Enterprise Fund. That should be either put into the fire department budget or the city to maintain that pump and to purchase that pump. But I'm glad we worked this out, and it is a necessary asset, and I will be supporting it.
Thank you, John. Councilor Pat?
Yes, I too want to weigh in and give my support for not only just the purchase of the asset, but for the work of the Harbor Master's Office and the Waterways Board. They are a tremendous asset to the city of Gloucester, not only to our citizens, but to our visiting tourist economy as well. And I know there's been a heck of a lot of work put into this, and that they will continue to try and keep the costs in the right place. I'm sorry that they could not find a way to have a special size fuel tank to be able to go back and forth between Gloucester and Florida to bring Councilor McCarthy up and back when he wants to go down. But I will be supporting this when we go forward 100%. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. Any other councilor discussion? Councilor Cox?
I will be supporting this as well. And I sincerely hope that the next incoming council and whoever is on budget and finance follows the diligence that Councilor McCarthy and Councilor Memhard did in my absence when I was traveling on this matter. There were some things that I was unaware of that on a capital purchase of this size, and they handled it like champs while I was gone. And I really appreciate how they went through this and kind of pushed back against trying to push this through, even though we need it. And I know there's a time constraint restriction and everything, but I think it was really important that we followed our procedure. So kudos to them. And I think this is going to be a great asset, and I can't wait for TJ to take me out for a spin.
Water skiing.
Blackburn Challenge.
Water skiing.
I'm not water skiing on the back of that thing. It goes way too fast.
2
All
years
right.
from now.
Any other councilor discussion? All right, that leaves me. I'm going to support this 100%. Being the council liaison to the Waterways Board, there were multiple meetings on this. That at that level, they went back up to budget and finance, back down to the waterways. So I'll tell you a quick story. Probably about 6 years ago. TJ, how long you been here? 6 years? 5 years?
2016, so going on 6 years, yeah.
Going on 6 years. So before TJ was here, I have a good friend of mine that came up from Florida, and he's a captain of a yacht. Not his yacht, but he's a captain. He called me, reamed me out. There's no transient anything. There's, people are talking on the radio that just go past Gloucester Harbor. You do not want to go into Gloucester Harbor. There's nothing there. There's no accommodations. There is nothing. Since TJ's come in, retooled the whole Harbor Master's Office. Where do we stand now, TJ, with that?
That's there's been a lot of work done by a lot of people. It's been a totally, combined effort with obviously the council, the budget, the administration, dredging, governor's office. I mean, there's been a lot of
Huge.
stuff going on, but we're on the map.
We're on the map.
We got the new facility down there. We got a bunch of transient moorings. We got a really good rating. We've gotten marina.com Marina of the Year award, which is a top 1%. You got to maintain 4.5 stars or better on 100 reviews a year, which we have. People are coming here. Marinas are full, yachts are coming in, lots of tourism downtown via the waterfront, which is always a positive, because anytime you have, boaters come in and spend money in town that aren't contributing to traffic problems or parking issues, which is always an issue in the summertime. Just a great way to increase tourism, support downtown businesses, and support the working waterfront via our waterfront, which was totally underutilized for a long time here. So we still have a lot of work to do, but we're definitely in the right direction. And more people, inevitably more problems, not always, but it's just the law of averages here. So we're really looking forward to having a boat that can, keep up with the modern times and deal with search and rescue, or deal with taking firefighters out to Pierce Island, which is inaccessible by vehicle, and paramedics and medicals and boat sinkings, and assisting the Coast Guard or the environmental police, or whatever the case may be. It's all good stuff, and it's all thanks to a lot of people. So that's where we stand.
That's where we stand. Imagine that in 6 years, we were a drive-by community with transient boating to a place where people want to come and hang out. So I'm going to support this 100 million%. I think this is not only an asset to the city, but an asset to everybody that comes to the city and is able to see that not only do we care about our waterfront and our water sheet, but we also have a state-of-the-art boat to care for you when you come to our water sheet. So that being said, if there's nothing else, I will call for the roll call. Councilor Cox.
Just real quick, I want to throw in a big thank you to Discover Gloucester as well, because they've done a really good job about promoting the city and the Harbor Master's office, and the fact that, we're welcoming people on boats with a welcome packet that includes all the information that you could possibly, in promoting downtown and Magnolia and Lanesville as destinations. So it's been working really good.
Yeah, it has. And I'm sure Tony remembers that phone call that I made to him about complaining about my buddy complaining to me. So we've come a long way in 6 years. So kudos to everybody. And like I said, this is the residents and transient. This was going to be a jewel down at the Harbor Master's office, alongside the Harbor Master's office. And that's also a jewel. With that being said, I will call for the roll call. Councilor Holmgren.
Yes, absolutely.
Councilor LeBlanc, yes. Councilor McCarthy.
Yes.
Councilor Memhard.
Yes.
Councilor Nolan.
Yes, thank you, TJ.
Councilor O'Hara.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Jamie. Nice to have you back, bud. Councilor Pat.
Yes, thank you, TJ and Tony and everyone else involved, and including the BNF team in working through this. It's a huge plus for the city.
Councilor Cox.
Yes.
And Councilor Gilman.
Yes.
Motion passes on a roll call vote of 9 in favor, 0 opposed. Councilor Cox.
I'd like to move for a reconsideration.
Second.
All right, reconsideration's been moved by Councilor Cox, seconded by Councilor Memhard. Everybody understands the reconsideration? All right, Councilor Holmgren.
No.
Councilor LeBlanc, no. Councilor McCarthy.
No.
Councilor Nolan. Oh, I'm sorry,
No.
Councilor Memhard.
No.
Councilor Nolan.
No.
Councilor O'Hara.
No.
Councilor Pett.
No.
Councilor Cox.
No.
And Councilor Gilman.
No.
Motion to reconsider fails on a roll call vote of 0 in favor, 9 opposed. So we have a couple of people in the audience, just to clarify what a reconsideration is. we have up to 24 hours to reconsider our vote. And if any one of us wants to reconsider our vote, we file it with the clerk's office within 24 hours, and this comes back to city council or the next city council meeting for discussion and a vote. So what we did tonight is we voted not to reconsider our vote. So this expedites the vote without having it come back to city council or allowing a counselor to go back to the clerk's office tomorrow and reconsider their vote. So this basically rubber stamps it, saying, well, not rubber stamps it, but officially stamps it. So we can move forward with this with a lot more efficiency than waiting the average time for a normal vote. So that's just a quick explanation to everybody that's listening this evening. We also have Mayor-elect Greg Verga that's joined the call. TJ, thank you. Tony, thank you.
Mind if I just
Everybody-
say something real quick, Mr. President?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's the last council meeting. I'm sure I'll still see all of you out in some kind of capacity, but it's been a pleasure working with pretty much all of you since I started, and a couple new faces here. We like Steve said earlier, the port's been, wildly successful, but it's been thanks to everyone supporting me and my team down there. I've put a lot of stuff before you guys over the past 6 years, ordinance changes, monetary fee changes, asset equipment asks, so on and so forth. It's all worked out really well. So thanks to everybody on this call, and thank you. And moving forward in your whatever endeavors there are, come visit us down there sometime. And when we get the new boat, we'll go for a ride. So thanks a lot, everyone. Have a great Christmas, New Year, the holidays, and best of luck. Thanks.
Thank you, TJ. And thanks for
Thank you.
being very, very proactive down at the Harbor Master's office. We appreciate
You got it.
what you do too, bud.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
All right, and thank you, Waterways Board members for joining us this evening, and I'll see you guys soon. Madam Clerk, next order of business, please.
Order of business is public hearing 2021-034, loan order 2021-006. Loan authorization request in the amount of $3.5 million for the renovation/repair of the modular buildings located at the Beaman and Plum Cove Elementary Schools.
All right, so I will open the public hearing and ask if there's anybody that would like to speak in favor of this evening. All right, Superintendent Lummis, thank you.
Thank you, City Council President LeBlanc, and hello to all the city councilors. I'm here tonight with Chairman of the School Committee, Jonathan Pope, and Director of Public Works, Mike Hale. And if you have questions about the dollars and cents, John Dunn will help us out as well. So as you know, the city, with a lot of work and support from the City Council, have been working to, and also a lot of work and effort from the DPW, have been working to upgrade and maintain our facilities across the city for our schools. And we have two elementary schools, Beaman Elementary School and Plum Cove, who are in the 50+ year range, which is okay, pretty okay for a human. But for a school building, it begins to show quite a bit of wear and tear. So we're sort of 60+ for Beaman and 50+ for Plum Cove. Our primary goal at this point, from the school side and also the Department of Public Works and Facilities, is to make sure we maintain both these school buildings as viable facilities for at least the next 10 years. As you have heard about for quite some time now, there are some the modular classrooms. That's 6 classrooms at Plum Cove and 9 at Beaman. That's fully at each school half of the number of regular classrooms they have. So they're not just sort of an add-on; they're an integral part of these school facilities. At both places, they're at or beyond their useful life. Something that DPW has been concerned about for quite some time. And now the schools are able to really focus on them at this point. So a couple of things we were thinking for a while that they would need to be replaced from the ground up. But thanks to the work of Mike Hale on DPW, he commissioned a report which has shown us that we will be able to refurbish and renovate the modular buildings. And it'll cost about half the amount of what replacing them would be. So that is it's going to be, and the other piece on that is not only less expensive, but also the time frame helps us quite a bit. And really what we want to continue to do at Beaman and Plum Cove is address the modulars, then continue with the ongoing repair and maintenance, and then also make sure they are safe and accessible buildings. So in terms of modulars, if we go forward with repair renovation, then that can be done. It's a tight schedule, but we expect it to be done this summer. If we go the replacement route, it's over $7.1 million and probably cannot be done until the summer of 2023. And that also, of course, increases the risk of escalation as well. These are structural and these are sort of envelope and systems renovations. So sidings and roofs, we have leaks in some of them. We have critters that can access inside the walls and ceilings. This would address HVAC renovation, doors and windows, finishes, electrical improvements. The interiors are in good shape, but essentially the envelope need work. And what we didn't know until Mike Hale commissioned the study was whether or not we could actually repair those instead of replace them. And we learned that we can repair them. Another part of this, in terms of maintaining these facilities, would be to also do exterior painting, both at Plum Cove and Beaman, and that can be done as well this summer. So that's sort of the quick overview. Really needed, at some point in the next 10 to 12 years or so, we will begin engage in a process to replace both facilities, but cannot expect to do that with the MSBA until well after we have completed the current project, and also want to make sure we're on a path where the city can finance them. And that, again, will be at least 10 years and probably more than that. Jonathan Pope or Mike, do you want to add to that? Oh, Jonathan, you're muted.
I would just like to say that, we spend a lot of time listening to people tell us that we need to maintain our buildings. And this is exactly what this is about. It's providing a safe and accessible facility for our youngest students. It needs to be done. We need to buy time until we are in a position to replace those facilities down the road, but that's not going to happen right away, as Superintendent Lummis said. And I don't want to speak for Mike, but I've heard him speak many times in the last 3 or 4 years about the need to do some major work on these modulars because of the stress that it puts on the DPW trying to maintain them as safe facilities. And maybe Mike could elaborate on that.
Thank you, Jonathan. Just with regard to maintenance of these facilities, I mean, they're maintained regularly, but certain things go beyond what traditional, daily maintenance can handle. And I've kind of urged the school committee over the past 4 or 5 years to have a plan to either repair, replace, or whatever else may have happened. And again, we have a new school being built at the West Parish, at the Veterans Campus. It'll house veterans in East Gloucester, so it takes the East Gloucester modulars and the veterans modulars out of the equation. But it still leaves us with the 2 biggest elementary schools that have 15 total modular classrooms. It's time. My freshman in college began her kindergarten career in the Plum Cove modulars, and just as she's changed and aged, so have these modulars, and it is time to take a step towards repair or replace. And I think the repair path that we're on is the best path for the district, and certainly for the students.
Thank you, Mike. Is there anybody else that would like to speak in favor this evening? All right, is there anybody that would like to speak in opposition? I saw the mayor logged on for 2 seconds. Mayor, can you hear me? I think she's trying to connect. Just give her a second here. Is there anybody else that would like to speak in favor? Or in opposition? Please raise your hand. If you're calling in, you can press *9. If you are watching on a device, there is a raise hand button to be recognized to speak. Mayor, can you hear me? All right, we'll move along to see if she logs in. We'll keep going. Madam Clerk, are there any communications?
There are no communications.
All right, do we have any councilor questions? Councilor Nolan,
Mayor-elect Berger does have his hand up.
there we go. Greg, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir. Name and address for the record, please.
Greg Berger, 381 Essex Ave.
Go ahead.
And I'm calling to speak in favor. I was on the school committee when we purchased these modulars, I don't know, 12 years ago, whenever it was. But it's definitely, there's a need for it. We need safe facilities for the kids. And as Jonathan, Ben, and Mike pointed out, it's not in the cards for at least a decade to do any new work, a new school for Beaman and Plum Cove. So we definitely have to do this. So I fully support it as a resident.
Thank you, Greg. Madam Clerk, there were no communications. All right. Mayor Taken still trying to get on, but we'll go to councilor questions and then we'll see if she's able to log on. Any other councilor questions? Councilor Gilman?
Thank you, Councilor LeBlanc. I just have one quick question for either Superintendent Lummis or Chairperson Pope. Is the cost of painting the exterior of the modulars, is that included in the loan order?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Val. Any other councilor questions? All right, I'll try to give Safathia a brief second. I know she's probably frustrated, for the better word, to try to get on and speak this evening. All right. I'm sure she's here to speak in favor. Any
Do
other
you want me to
councilor
go read
questions?
the motion?
Any other
and then-
councilor questions? Yeah, we can suspend our rules, but I just wanted to make sure we gave her enough time to log in. All right, with that being said, I'm going to close the public hearing and defer this to our Budget and Finance Chair, Councilor Cox.
With no further discussion, I'm going to read the motion. Seeing none, I recommend the City Council approve the following loan authorization as follows. Ordered that the City of Gloucester appropriates $3,500,000 to pay costs associated with the renovation and repair of modular buildings at both the Beaman and Plum Cove Elementary School, including costs incidental or related thereto. To meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the mayor, is authorized to borrow said amount under and pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 7, or pursuant to any other enabling authority. The mayor and any other appropriate official of the city are authorized to apply for, accept, and expand any grants or gifts that may be available to the city to pay costs of the project. Any premium received by the city upon the sale of any bonds or notes approved by this vote, less any premium applied to the payment of the cost of issue of any bonds or notes may be applied to the payment of costs approved by this vote in accordance with Chapter 44, Section 20 of the general laws, thereby reducing the amount authorized to be borrowed to pay such costs by a like amount. Further ordered that the treasurer is authorized to file an application with the Municipal Finance Oversight Board to qualify under Chapter 44A of the general laws any or all of the bonds authorized by this order, and to provide such information and execute such documents as the Municipal Finance Oversight Board may require for these purposes, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made by Counselor Cox, seconded by Counselor Memhard. And I think the mayor is on. Mayor, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Sorry, I was
There we go.
clicking on and off on the last
Hi.
one. I couldn't get on.
I know you were, but we just made a motion and it's been seconded, but we're, without any objection, we'll suspend our rules to allow the mayor to talk. All right, go ahead, Mayor.
Well, first of all, let me see if I can work this video, kid. Am I on there? Well, nice. City Hall's behind me. First of all, thank you, everyone. This is our last city council meeting. Well, hopefully there's no emergencies. I just got off with the Board of Health. That was a long Board of Health meeting, which would, well, and not council-elect, mayor-elect Virgo was on there. And as we know, COVID is increasing, but we're doing the best we can. And for myself and those who will not be returning come January, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. But thank you. As you know, Chairperson Steve LeBlanc, actually, I like to say chairperson because there's always women than the next one. But the fact is, 10 years, you and I have been serving also with Councilor Cox and others. It's just been great. I've done 20 years, 13 as a city councilor. And for those who are on that are new, it is gratifying. It's confusing, it's tough, but it is gratifying because you do make an effort and you do make a change. And to, my staff and administration, they've been great as far as for the past 7 years. Like I said to people, it's a title. I'm not going anywhere. I love this city too much, a title. And I look at it as, the Super Bowl, I have 7 rings, 7 years, and we move forward, but it doesn't mean we go away, because the fact is that those of us who were born and raised here and stayed here for a reason, because we love Gloucester. And we're at a time that, Gloucester is moving and we need to be together and figure out what's best and what's the needs. And I will be around and I will be strong, and I'll be able to speak as a panelist, no, but I'll be on and I will help those new councilors who want it. Those who won, congratulations. Those who are returning, my condolences. No, I'm only kidding. Congratulations. Thank you, because it is gratifying. And those who are leaving, same, I'm sure that you're not leaving. You're still in the city doing things that, you love the best and helping this community, because that's who we are. And I just want to say again, thank you so much. I mean, 20 years with most of my staff, because I appointed most of them. Thank you so much. I couldn't have asked for better staff. And hold your head high, because you know what? No one can take that away from us. City councilors, myself, we were the city councils and we were also the mayor and the staff who survived COVID. That's history, people. The city councils has to realize, whether we had our ups and downs or we had arguments or whatever, it didn't come with the book, whatever, but we are the council, and I am the mayor, and my administration is, we survived the COVID. We were the first ones. No one can take that away from you. No one can take that away from you, that we had our first pandemic over 100 years. And we survived, and we will survive, because this community is strong and we'll work together. So God bless you all. Thank you. Happy holidays to everyone. And I will be seeing you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. All right, so we have a motion and a second for the modulars. Councilor Gilman, a discussion.
Thank you. I will absolutely be supporting this. I'm the Ward 4 City Councilor for both Beaman Memorial School and Plum Cove School. I've had the opportunity many times, as recently as right before COVID, to read in a lot of the modular classrooms at both schools as part of the First Art program. And I always love the feel of the modulars, because they're bright and cheery and they're happy, and they really do the job for the grades that are accommodated there. So I appreciate Mike Hale's effort in looking at the least painful for our budget. I appreciate all that work and the work of of the school committee and Superintendent Lummis in getting us this. So I obviously will be supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you, Val. Council Holmgren?
Thank you. Yes, I will also wholeheartedly be supporting this. And I do want to say the president of the Beaman PTO, Amanda Silva, couldn't join us tonight to voice her support, but she wants us to know that she supports this as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Councilor Nolan?
As much as I do support this tonight, I think the modulars are the best situation for the situation that the schools are in. But I know that living over in Ward 5, we were very happy to see them be gone and end up with a new school that's fair and environmentally and safe for our children. And I wish the best in the same for all our wards in the city.
Thank you, Sean. Mayor, I see your hand up. I'll circle back to you as soon as we get through our council. Councilor Pat?
Yeah, just thank you to not only the Superintendent Loomis and Chairman Pope, but also to Director Hale for all his work on, trying to maintain all of our city buildings. And obviously, I think one of the most important are those for our children, for our students. And these modulars are, again, they're not supposed to be a normal part of a school for 50 years or whatever, but we have what we have. And I want to thank them for putting the work in to make this, make them last for another 10 years or whatever it's going to be. And I will be wholeheartedly supporting this. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. Any other councilor discussion? All right, I'm going to go real quick. I'm going to also support these. Being in the first R, I probably read in every single modular over the past several years. My wife's been in the school system for a bunch of years, over at Beaman, over at Plum Cove. She's currently at Plum Cove, East Gloucester, Veterans. I think she's been to everywhere but West Parish, I think. She may have worked there also, but I've been in and outside. I've listened to stories, not only from my wife, but from other friends that are in the school system. This is long overdue, and it's an excellent, what Chairman Pope said earlier, we hear about people of maintaining our buildings, and this is exactly what we're doing to get the most life out of these buildings before we have to replace them. So this is a slam dunk for me, and I will be supporting this 100 million %. Mayor Taken, before we take a vote, did you want to say something?
Yes, I wanted to say, first of all, councilors, thank you. We couldn't be doing this without having a sound budget. Even though people think it's a law that you have to pass a budget or you have to, but let me tell you something, we were in a state of emergency. The city council, myself, my administration, the leaders, we not only passed a budget, we also left the city, those who are leaving, left the city in very good shape that we could do these things. And when we started together in 2015, I wanted to make sure that I thank Jim Destino, Chris Sicaranza, Enza, Nicole, Frank, all of us that come in and out to do these things, to thank them, because remember, we started the first, you have to save for our future, save for these buildings. We did the 40, the 20, the 20% to put in back into the systems. And our DPW director, Mike Hale, for looking at the buildings with Joe Lucido and all the DPW workers and the janitors. We've come a long way. We've come a long way of repairing the buildings when they need to. This right here is showing how we all work together. Not only did we pass the budget, the school got a little bit of, a percentage wise, but we have fiscal sound, we have free cash coming in, free cash on that one. And yet you're thinking of the future of the children. Again, this is so important that they do have that, because anyone that's winning the buildings, actually, I was one of the councils back then that when we first put them in, and now it's, 20 years later, we need to change them, and perfect time and perfect things. Yes, Councilor Nolan, we'd love to have all new schools everywhere, but that's right now. This is the best way to make sure that, to tell the other students, we do care about you. We hear what's going on, the teachers and the principals. We want to, and we need to do that. And we couldn't have done it without this council moving together to make sure that, you know what, and our team, when we said to them, you can't spend, and our CFO, I mean, we did it. We did it. And this is why we have this. Thank yourselves. You know, just because you and I, all of us don't get along all the time and we're all ups and downs, that's okay. We still succeeded as a team to get this city where we are. Not all of them. All of them use, some of them are using their OPI money to pass their budget still. We already did 2022. This is great. Thank you so much. And school committee, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. So most of you are aware that I'm kind of doing things out of order here this evening. Mayor wasn't here for most of the meeting, and I'm just making sure she gets to speak a little bit. It is our last meeting, but she was on the Board of Health meeting earlier, and I just wanted to make sure that she was able to, we didn't deny her of speaking this evening. So any other councilor discussion? All right, seeing none.
Council LeBlanc.
Oh, there we go, Councilor O'Hara.
Thank you. I just want to say that I'll be supporting this. It's extremely important that our students have a safe building, a comfortable building structure to learn in, as well as the employees to teach in. The safety of the students is of extreme importance, so I'll be supporting this tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. All right, with that being said, does everybody understand the vote? All right, it's been made by Councilor Cox, seconded by Councilor Memhard. I will call for the roll. Councilor Holmgren,
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc, yes. Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Memhard,
Yes, absolutely.
Councilor Nolan,
Absolutely, yes.
Councilor O'Hara,
Yes.
Councilor Pat,
Absolutely, yes.
Councilor Cox,
Yes.
and Councilor Gilman.
Yes.
Motion passes on a roll call vote of 9 in favor, 0 opposed. Madam Clerk, next order of business, please.
Thank you very much, councilors. Thank you, President LeBlanc.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you being here tonight.
Really appreciate your support of the schools, and also thank you to Mike and Jonathan. And really appreciate all the support from city councilors, those who are leaving. Really appreciate working with you and how direct and honest and supportive you have been over schools. We'll miss you, but apparently you won't be going too far. So best
Exactly.
of luck. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you.
And I don't know if you're gonna be hanging around, Mike, but if you're gonna be hanging around, thank you anyway, but I don't know if you're gonna be sticking around for the rest of the meeting. Madam Clerk, next order of business, please.
This public hearing 2021-035, loan order 2019-009, a loan authorization amendment for the Concord Street Bridge over Walker's Creek in the amount of $1.2 million from $1.0 million.
All right, so I will open the public hearing and ask if there is anybody to speak in favor of this evening.
Good evening, Councilor LeBlanc. Mike Hale, Public Works. This was before the council probably 2 years ago. The bridge that extends Concord Street across Walker Creek towards Essex was deemed in need of replacement from a DOT inspection. We applied for the Mass DOT Small Bridge Replacement Grant. We received just under $500,000 for that, which had a city match of approximately $500,000 as well. That's the $1 million original loan authorization. With the pandemic, you don't need to be in public works instruction or in the trades to realize that everything is more expensive today than it was 2 years ago. Building materials are through the roof, and that includes for a bridge replacement project. Steel is more expensive, and the lead time on the steel has been really difficult for a contractor to carry. So the total cost of the bridge is in excess of the $1 million that we have. We went back to DOT, and they were gracious enough to give us an extra $200,000 towards the project. And now this is our match to that $200,000, so we can get this bridge reconstructed starting late winter and completing probably mid to late summer.
All right, thank you, Mike. Is there anybody else that would like to speak in favor this evening? All right, if you are calling in on a phone, you can press *9 to request to speak. And if you are watching on a device, you can there's a raise hand button to be recognized to speak. You can tap that. If you'd like to speak in favor or in opposition, now is the time to do so. Anybody like to speak in opposition of this? All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, do we have any communications?
There are no communications.
Thank you. And do we have any councilor questions? Councilor Pat?
Yes, I just want to get a clarification, Mike. This is to go to 1.2 from 1.0. You had said DOT had done like basically 500 and the city had 500, and you got an extra 200 from DOT, and then we're going to match with an extra 200. Does that not take us to 1.4 versus 1.2? I'm just a little, maybe it's just me not understanding the wording in the loan order.
I believe that the original $1 million appropriation, the city was required to authorize the full amount, even though that DOT was going to be granting us just under 50% of that. It's like $498,000 and some change. I don't believe the same condition was placed on the increase. So they did give us 200. We're adding 200 to it. So the total project cost will be 1.4, just around there. But again, I'm not the one who puts the loan order language together. But I do not believe they required us to have the same verbiage in the increase as we did the original appropriation.
Okay, I'm sure that answer, it just makes it clarifies it for me. I'm sure that Councillor Cox has been on top of all of this, and she wouldn't have let it slip by in the wrong way. So I just wanted the clarification, for maybe for the public that's watching, et cetera. So that the total cost will be actually 1.4, not 1.2, but it's just an increase of 200,000 that we're now having to come before us.
That is correct. And so the total cost to the local tax dollars is around 700.
Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. Council Memard?
DPW Director Hale, you spoke to this at our budget meeting, but just for the sake of our constituents on this meeting or watching it later, there were concerns originally when the bridge abutments began to erode and collapse several years ago that any modification in the design and reconstruction of the bridge here would take appropriate consideration of erosion, the flow of water going in and out on the tides. And I believe you addressed that in our meeting, but if you could restate that for the public, that would be helpful.
Certainly, Councillor. The original bridge abutments are cut stone, and they are parallel to the channel, meaning that if you have any significant water, like certainly when the tide's receding, so if any significant water, well, it can be coming as well. The tide could be coming. And if it can't fit through the opening, it eddies around the abutments and swirls. When you have extremely high tide, storm surge, or you have an excessive rain event on the discharge of Walker Creek, you could have an eddy on either side of the abutment, the upstream side or the downstream side. And that's what caused the abutments to fail a few years ago. And they're piecemealed back together again with a series of Jersey barriers and some fill. It's secure, but obviously not a long-term fix. And we anticipated having this done a year ago, but like everything else, the pandemic has put a lot of public works construction on hold, from design to permitting. Everything was delayed. So the new abutments will have essentially flared wings to them, allowing the water to kind of be funneled more directly into them, the poured concrete. So I think you'll have, it's engineered where the first one was probably just constructed.
Thank you very much.
Got any other councilor questions? All right, seeing none, I will close the public hearing and we defer this to our budget finance chair, Councilor Cox.
Thank you. Barry, is it a bad time after 10 years to tell you that I'm really bad at math?
No, it's a perfect time.
No, you actually supposed to not bring it up for another 2 weeks yet.
All right, fine. Sorry, I had to do that. All right. And whoever's idea was my last meeting to do 5 loan orders, I would
know.
like to kill you. I recommend the city council approve the following loan authorization as follows. Ordered that loan order 2019-009 certificate of vote 2019-143 of this council approved August 27, 2019, authorizing the borrowing of $1 million to pay costs of the complete replacement of the Concord Street Bridge over Walker's Creek, including the payment of all costs incidental or related thereto, is amended in its entirety to provide as follows. Ordered that the city of Gloucester appropriates $1,200,000 to pay costs of complete replacement of the Concord Street Bridge over Walker's Creek, including the payment of all costs incidental or related thereto. To meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the mayor, is authorized to borrow said amount under and pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 7, or pursuant to any other enabling authority. The mayor and any other appropriate official of the city are authorized to apply for, accept, and expend any grants or gifts that may be available to the city to pay costs of the projects. Any premium received by the city upon the sale of any bonds or notes approved by this vote less than any such premium applied to the payment of the cost of issuance of such bonds or notes may be applied to the payment of costs approved by this vote in accordance with Chapter 44, Section 20 of the general laws, thereby reducing the amount authorized to be borrowed to pay such costs by a like amount. Further ordered that the treasurer is authorized to file an application with the Municipal Finance Oversight Board to qualify under Chapter 44A of the general laws, any or all of the bonds authorized by this order, and to provide such information and execute such documents as the Municipal Finance Oversight Board may require for these purposes, and I so move.
Second.
All right, motion's been made by Counselor Cox, seconded by Counselor Memhard. Council discussion. Counselor Nolan.
I do support this. This is a great thing that's going to be happening, and for many reasons. One, the bridge is deteriorating. I do believe that part of the bridge is from the old Route 1A that was brought here from Newbury years ago and is placed there. So it was definitely constructed, not engineered. But one of the things we did find after the failure from the storm is that we did have a house fire on Essex Avenue, and it ended up being the only way for commerce and for people to work back and forth from Essex to Gloucester. And we had to divert traffic over a bridge that wasn't necessarily DOT proof for the trucking and the amount of traffic. So not only will this be a great aesthetic thing for the neighborhood, it's definitely a safety thing for the entire island. And I will be supporting this tonight.
All right, thank you, Sean. Any other councilor discussion? I'm going to be supporting this also. That bridge is pretty cool. You think about our roads and the horse and buggy roads that we have. I mean, this is truly a horse and buggy road with the bridge. It's one lane, one of those bridges you cannot cross with 2 cars or a car and a bike or anything like that. It's an asset to get back and forth to different parts of Sean's part of town. I've got some of my customers that live over there, so it's a pretty cool bridge. If you ever get a chance to get out and go see it. So I will be supporting this. And that being said, Council Holmgren.
I'd like to thank the Lieutenant Governor for kicking in the extra $200,000. Mayor Taken just let me know that. So thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Mike, how many of those bridges like that do we have? Is that the only one? I think we have another one just like that, don't we?
There'd be one more.
Right, I just was going through my brain.
Yeah, there's not very many like that. I mean, there's a few crossings not over such a wide span, but there are some that may not be considered bridges. They may be considered culverts, but they're similar. Denison Street has one. I mean, there's a few out there.
Yeah, all right. All right, any other council discussion? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and, I already closed the public, and
You already did that.
council discussion, and call for the roll call. Council Holmgren,
Yes.
there you go. Council LeBlanc, yes. Council McCarthy,
Yes.
Council Memhard,
Yes.
Councilor Nolan,
Yes, thank you, Mike.
Councilor O'Hara,
Yes.
Councilor Pett,
Yes, thank you, Mike Hale.
Councilor Cox,
Yes.
Councilor Gilman.
Yes.
Motion passes on a roll call vote of 9 in favor, 0 opposed. Thanks, Mike. Madam Clerk, next order of business, please.
Public hearing 2021-036, loan order 2020-005, loan authorization amendment for security upgrades at Gloucester High School and O'Malley Innovation Middle School in the amount of $2 million from $1.6 million.
All right, this is our last public hearing this evening for everyone. I'm going to open the public hearing and ask if there's anybody that would like to speak in favor.
I will start this, Councilor Mike. This was a project that was deemed necessary by the Gloucester Public Schools, School Committee, Gloucester Police Department, and Fire Department. As we see across the nation, school security is a very important and sensitive issue. The middle school and high school were built during a time when school security wasn't well thought of. There wasn't a need for it as much as there is today. So trying to catch up to 2021 times, we began this process, and again, with an add-on to the project, cost, materials, and unforeseen conditions, the project's grown in scope slightly from 1.6 to just under 2. The idea is if we get the extra $400,000, we can close this project out neatly. There's a very small punch list of items left to do, and the projects are 100% done. I do believe there'll be some tweaking of the space and access. I mean, it's new for both buildings. If you go into the buildings, it may seem similar, but the flow's changed. Some office space has changed. The school resource officer's location has changed. And there's still some outfitting that'll need to be done at another time, some technology component that's not part of this. But this will get us to the completion of this project and make both these schools as safe as we can make them right now. And I believe that Superintendent Lummis can weigh in on this. It's been a relatively smooth process, given the amount of disruption that both campuses have had to deal with since the summer of 2021.
Thank you, Mike. Superintendent Lummis.
Thank you, Mike and President LeBlanc. So Mike's exactly right. This has been, it's been kind of some rough going, just because it's extended past where we wanted to. And if, we were on a tight time schedule in the summertime, but doors, windows, glass, we're still having difficulty. It's just on a call today as we were talking about a punch list and some other matters. Still have some trouble with the last pieces of glass. And they could be a little bit longer as well. So it really is another example of the impact of the pandemic on construction, on supply chain, and on escalation. It's not only gas and milk that's going up, but it's also almost all construction products. So, but I will say this, combined with the recent training we've been doing in our schools and drills, which we're doing again and we'll do again later this year. And these two, and securing these two entryways at O'Malley and at GHS, and good work with the police department. We feel more and more confident that these two schools and all our schools are, preparing just in case. But this is important to wrap this up and as Mike said, due to unforeseen circumstances and just the shifts from the original design of this, or when it was originally designed, I should say, we are seeking some additional funding to close it out.
Thank you, Superintendent. Anybody else that would like to speak in favor? All right, anybody would like to speak in opposition? If you are calling in, you can press *9 to request to speak. If you are watching, there is a raised hand button that you can press to request to speak also. If you would like to speak in favor or in opposition, now is the time to do so, please. All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, do we have any communications?
There are no communications.
Thank you. Do we have any councilor questions? All right, I'm sure we have all read our budget and finance minutes, and that's probably why we don't have any questions. So good job to budget and finance. So I will close the public hearing and defer this to our budget and finance chair, Councilor Cox.
Hello, everybody. I told you I was bad at math. There's only 4 public hearings and I said 5. So, yeah. Anyway, I recommend the city council approve the following loan authorization as follows. Ordered that loan order 2020-005, certificate of vote 2020-075 of this council approved May 12th, 2020, authorize the borrowing of $1,600,000 to pay costs of security upgrades at Gloucester High School and O'Malley Innovation Middle School, including costs incidental or related thereto, is amended in its entirety to provide as follows. Ordered that the city of Gloucester appropriates $2 million to pay costs of security upgrades at Gloucester High School and O'Malley Innovation Middle School, including costs incidental or related thereto. To meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the mayor, is authorized to borrow said amount under and pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 7, or pursuant to any other enabling authority. The mayor and any other appropriate official of the city are authorized to apply for, accept, and expend any grants or gifts that may be available to the city to pay costs of the projects. Any premium received by the city upon the sale of any bonds or notes approved by this vote, less any such premium applied to the payment of cost of issuance of such bonds or notes, may be applied to the payment of costs approved by this vote in accordance with Chapter 44, Section 20 of the general laws, thereby reducing the amount authorized to be borrowed to pay such costs by like amount. Further ordered that the treasurer is authorized to file an application with the Municipal Finance Oversight Board to qualify under Chapter 44A of the general laws any or all of the bonds authorized by this order, and to provide such information and execute such documents as the Municipal Finance Oversight Board may require for these purposes, and I so move.
That's Councilor Cox's last motion as Budget and Finance Chair. Seconded.
Don't make me sad, Scott.
Good job. Motion's been made by Councilor Cox, seconded by Councilor Memhard. Further discussion? Any councilor discussion?
Councilor Pett has this.
All right, Councilor Pett.
Yes, I just wanted to remind Councilor Cox that she's not that bad at math. That fifth loan order is a placeholder in case there's an emergency loan order necessary in the next 2 weeks, and we have to have an emergency meeting. So it wasn't you not doing correct math. It was done on purpose, I'm sure, and we appreciate you standing by for the next 2 weeks for your excellent experience.
Thank you, Barry. All right.
Thanks, Barry.
Any other councilor discussion before we vote? All right, seeing none, we'll call for the roll. Councilor Holmgren,
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc, yes. Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Memhard,
Yes.
Councilor Nolan,
Yes.
Councilor O'Hara,
Yes.
Councilor Pett,
Yes.
Councilor Cox,
Yes.
and Councilor Gilman.
Yes.
Motion passes on a roll call vote of 9 in favor, 0 opposed. Mike, Ben, Jonathan, thank you guys for being here this evening. We appreciate it.
Thank
Great
you.
job. Great job to all. And,
Thank
I'm
you,
sure-
Counselor. And just, I'd like to just say, thank you to the 5 counselors who will not be in the auditorium come January. It's been a pleasure working with you. I'm sure I'll see you around. You'll be missed. To the 4 remaining and the 5 new, I look forward to January and the times after that. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
All right.
Counselor?
Councilor Gilman?
I'm sorry, just something very quickly. I just wanted to thank Jonathan Pope. He's served this city for many, many, many years, and here he is on this long meeting. And on behalf of all of us, you've been awesome. So thank you.
Thank you, Val. Jonathan?
Thank you. Thank you.
How many meetings did you have today? Is this your second one?
Yes, we negotiated a contract and a tentative agreement with one of our AFSCME groups just before we came here. And there was another meeting in the morning. So, you know, I appreciate all of the hard work that gets done on both sides, the school side and the city side. And I think we should all, as the mayor said, should all be proud of the work you've done. And I appreciate it. So thank you.
We
Back
appreciate
at
you.
you,
bud.
Jonathan.
Yeah, you've done a tremendous job. Enjoy your family, enjoy your time off, and let's get together soon and have a cup of coffee or however you want to call it, and reminisce about the old times, bud.
Let us know when that party gets rescheduled.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thanks.
All right, Madam Clerk, next order of business, please.
Next order is business for council vote, decision to adopt special city council permit 2021-004 Essex Avenue number 65-73, map 217, lots 20 and 22. Gloucester zoning ordinance sections 5.5.2 for lowland requirements exception, 5.314 use allowance and special permit procedures for a marijuana establishment in the EB district.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Obviously, this is something that we voted on a few weeks ago. We're all familiar with this. No, Councilor Gilman?
Yeah, just a note on discussion. This P&D standing committee has just done an awesome job on Barry, Jen, thank you. The detail of this motion to adopt was just so specific, and it's really a tribute to the detail that you put behind all of this. So I'll obviously be supporting this motion to adopt, but I just wanted to say thank you.
You too, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, seeing none, I'll call for the roll. Councilor Holmgren,
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc, yes. Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Memhard,
Yes, yes.
Councilor Nolan,
Yes.
Councilor O'Hara,
Yes.
Councilor Pat,
Yes.
Councilor Cox,
Yes.
and Councilor Gilman.
Yes.
Motion to adopt passes on a roll call vote of 9 in favor, 0 opposed. Madam Clerk, next order of business, please.
Is decision to adopt special city council permit 2021-005 Whistle Stop Way number 9, map 24, lot 51, Gloucester zoning ordinance, section 2.2.2.3 and section 5.31 to construct a retail marijuana establishment in the EB district.
I'll entertain a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, I will call for the roll call. Councilor Holmgren,
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc, yes. Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Memhard,
Yes.
Councilor Nolan,
Yes.
Councilor O'Hara,
No.
Councilor Pat,
Yes.
Councilor Cox,
Yes.
and Councilor Gilman.
Yes.
Motion passes to adopt on a roll call vote of 8 in favor, 1 opposed. All right, thank you, everyone. Madam Clerk, next order of business, please.
For council vote, the city council acceptance of the tax increment financing TIF process modification.
All right, and I will entertain a motion to accept the tax increment finance process modification proposal dated November 19th, 2021. And I so move.
Second.
So moved.
Second,
Seconded, moved, third, fourth, last meeting. Woo! All right, everybody understand what we're voting on this evening? All right, so we'll go with the roll call. Councilor Holmgren,
Yes.
Councilor LeBlanc, yes. Councilor McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilor Memhard,
yes.
Councilor Nolan,
Yes.
Councilor O'Hara,
Yes.
Councilor Pat,
Yes.
Councilor Cox,
Yes.
and Councilor Gilman.
Yes.
All right, motion passes on a roll call vote of 9 in favor, 0 opposed. Madam Clerk, next order of business, please.
Is councilor's request to the mayor.
All right, any councilors' requests to the mayor? Councilor Cox.
I've noticed for the last few months that the calendar on the city website on the landing page is not, it has no information on it. In order for me to figure out what the Board of Health meeting link was for their Zoom this evening, I had to go to agendas and look it up and then type it into my iPad. Typically the meeting links are very long and complicated. So it's easy to mess it up. And if it was in the calendar, if all of our meetings were in the calendar, and having live links to click onto them, as opposed to trying to retype it in from an agenda that's a PDF, I think that would be extremely helpful. I don't know why we've gotten away from using the calendar at the bottom of the main page. But I know there's several meetings tonight. When I just clicked on December 14th, it didn't have anything on the calendar. So I'd really like to see that utilized better. And another thing, Duncan Street has been repaved for at least 2 years. I was told that the T's and L's would get paved on it or painted on it after they did the restructuring on the parking plan. And that's happened. The kiosks are trying to be installed and be productive. So I'm not sure why we haven't painted those lines. Several of our renters and people that are utilizing the businesses on Duncan Street have been given tickets because they're not parked in the appropriate spot. And without those T's and L's, it's very hard to try to figure out where people are parking because there's a notorious illegal parking spot up the street that throws everybody off. So if that could be done, that would be great. Sooner the better on that one.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
Any other councilor requests to the mayor or any follow-ups or anything? Or Councilor Memhard, then Councilor Nolan.
No, it's not a request to the mayor per se, but thank you for all the support from the administration, accommodating me using East Gloucester School Auditorium for a Ward 1 community meeting with the new developer at 116 East Main Street, Mark Trenos. He was interested in introducing himself to the neighbors. Joel Favaza is his attorney, and he had his blaster there. And the blaster was the one who did most of the conversation, most of the talk and the answering of questions. But as you all know and remember, this project was conditioned back in 2018 by the Zoning Board of Appeals and the Concom with no blasting, in consideration in particular of the underground fuel tanks at the Mondello's Richdale gas station. There are 3 tanks that were installed in 1970 or so. But the developer, as far as I can gather, got a very clear message from the attendees there, both people who were in person as well as people who attended virtually via Zoom. And the developer was helpful in setting that up and making it happen and brought coffee and donuts for everybody. But you know, I think he got a good lay of the land, and the neighborhood will be just looking forward to an extended period of drilling and hammering, but not blasting. And it was a good meeting, and I felt constructive about introducing him to the neighbors and clarifying for him the history of this project, which he's taken over. But thank you all for your support on that.
Thank you, Scott, and good job. Councilor Nolan.
I have nothing for the request. I do want to thank the mayor for her time in her public service. I do want to thank every counselor here tonight. I've served with a lot of you, and I'm going to miss you. It's not out with the old and in with the new. It's a team, and I look forward to everybody that's presently on the council and to work with them before and after. Everybody's done a great job, and I want to thank everybody, each and every one of you.
Thank you, Sean. Councilor McCarthy.
Yes, it's ending a 2-year learning experience for me. I'd like to thank everybody that's helped me as a new counselor, and wish the counselors that are staying good luck, and also wishing the counselors that are leaving good luck. It's been a pleasure working with the clerk's office. Joanne, thank you for all your help over these last couple of years, and I just wish everybody good luck and happy holidays and happy New Year.
Thank you, John. Same to you too. Councilor Pat.
Okay. Again, thank you to all of the counselors, those that are departing and those that are remaining. Thank you to everyone in the administration, not only the mayor's office, but all the departments, the DPW, the fire department, the police department, the harbor master, the board of health, you know, everyone. And obviously special thank you to Joanne and the staff in the clerk's office for at least helping me as a brand new counselor to navigate through everything. And it's been quite an experience for me. And I'm not going anywhere. I'll still be here in the community one way or another, helping out, hopefully. But hopefully everybody will have a safe and happy holiday season going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. Councilor Holmgren.
Yes, I am just very grateful for having had the opportunity to serve with all of you, and I certainly didn't expect it to end this way on Zoom, but I want to thank my colleagues, current and former, Joanne and the city clerk's office, Kenny, and the auditor's office, the mayor's office, all city administration employees, board, commission, and committee members. Thanks to all of the engaged constituents who made our meetings interesting and good. And I want to wish you all a happy and healthy holiday season as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Councilor Gilman.
I just wanted to piggyback on what people have said. I see that Mayor Taken is still on the call, so in case she's hearing us, we gave you grand citations at the beginning of the meeting, and I hope you watch it tomorrow. We have a lovely card that the clerk's office and the city council also all signed with notes to you, and I'm sure you'll get that tomorrow. I just have really enjoyed working with the 5 counselors that are leaving. We've learned a lot from each other. We've been through a lot, and I will always think of you with positive thoughts as we move forward, and we hope to see you again. And thank you, and thank you to city staff that for all your support.
Thank you, Val. Anybody else? Councilor Cox.
I was doing my request to the mayor and I totally forgot to sign off, I guess. I really enjoyed this experience. I mean, 10 years of my life spent with Steve LeBlanc, you know, that was a long time.
Remember?
We had not, I know earlier when we were reading through the citations and Margaret, kept talking about how many meetings and time away from friends and family. It's not all negative. It is a lot of time away, but there are a lot of accomplishments. Steve and I got elected the same year, and we have shared these experiences for the last 10 years. But being able to go have dinner at the hotel and seeing what that has brought to our community. When we started in January, that was the first thing that we had to do. And it was such a huge undertaking. And we learned so much from that process. And it's crazy to think that that was 10 years ago. It's such a staple in our lives now. And the things that we've been able to accomplish, even as something like a parking meter or, getting somebody a handicap spot and, just helping our fellow residents. It's very rewarding. I'm really going to miss it. I am a firm believer in rotation. 10 years is a long time to be in a position. And I think it's important to step back and assess your accomplishments and your failures and let other people take a shot at being a city councilor. So everybody that has served on the council in the last 10 years, it was very nice to serve with you. Joe Shalino, there's Paul Lundberg, there's been a lot of people that have been transitioned out, and we're still friends. We're still, in touch, and I look forward to seeing most of you around town. So I appreciate it. And I look forward to continuing to see the city clerk's office, the administration, and city auditor's office. So I'm going to miss you guys, but we'll still see each other. So thank you.
We had some really good teachers, Melissa.
Yeah, we did.
Especially for the
Jackie
hotel.
Hardy in particularly,
Right.
I was thinking about her the other day, and
I
the
talk
things
about
that
her all
I
the
learned
time.
from her was amazing.
Yeah.
And Council McCarthy, I know you've only been here for 2 years, but damn, I learned a lot from you.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
I really appreciate your
Forward thinking.
yeah, it was refreshing to have somebody come in and like really grab the reins and teach me something after 8 years. So it was very much a pleasure to work with you.
Thank you. It's nice of you to say.
Yeah. And Val, you should be commended for what you've managed to pull P&D out of. I served 2 years on P&D, and I gotta say it wasn't the most pleasant experience for me because I'm more of a numbers person. And we had a lot of lawsuits in the beginning, and you've managed to pull us out of that. And your meetings might be a little bit longer, but damn, it's worth it if we can avoid those lawsuits. So kudos.
Thank
Thank you, Melissa.
And I certainly hope you make Scott Memhard Chair of Budget and Finance. As the only returning member, he deserves that.
I talk about Jackie all the time. Val,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I just have something funny to that I wanted to just say before we close. And this was a tradition that Carolyn Kirk started in 2011, and then it got sent to Greg Verger in 2015, and then to Melissa Cox in 2016, Sean Nolan in 2017. I inherited it in 2019, and I would like to give this to Scott Memhard for 2022. But this is a bunch of horrified 9 city councilors, and the tradition, from what I understand from those of you who have kept asking, like, what is this tradition, is something to do with people that are lucky enough to be running unopposed, and they don't have to go through this crazy time in the election. So there are actually 9 counselors here. There are 4 women and 5 men, and that was more symbolic of how the council was back in 2011. So I just want the council to know, although this is awkward in a Zoom call, that I'm going to be presenting this to Scott Memard at the inauguration on January 1st, and ask that you continue the tradition of whatever this means. So anyway,
All right,
thank you.
thank you, Val. I don't know how much of a tradition it is. I ran up unopposed 3 years. I've never even seen the thing before, but you can have your tradition. But anyway,
Don't be bitter, Steve.
I'm not bitter. I trust me.
Oh, it got hidden in the back of my closet for a few
Anyway,
years. Probably why.
So 10 years is a long time. I'd like to thank, and I'm sure everybody spoke, but I'm going to speak for probably a minute longer. This administration, the past administration, the future administration, you know, let's see, is Greg still on the call? I don't see him, but you know, Greg, if you need anything, we've got a lot of knowledge that we can help you with in the future. Spathia, Carolyn, you know, those are the Carolyn and Spathia are the mayors that I've worked with over the 10 years. You know, I've made some really good friendships with this council, past councils, department heads, employees, constituents. You know, Ann Margaret and Melissa talked about, you know, your endless hours of going out. You know, you go out to dinner with your wife and you end up having dinner with your wife and a constituent. You go out to have a beer with your buddies and you end up talking for hours on end with constituents. You're on the golf course, in the dentist chair. I mean, it's a 24/7 job, believe it or not. I wouldn't change any other thing in the past 10 years. I've been reminiscing with my son the past few days. We work together and he's 22. So I'm thinking, man, I've been a city councilor almost half his life. And it's just crazy to think about, of all the things that we've accomplished. And especially with Melissa, we came in, we were as green as they came, you know, and look at us, we're running the council meetings. You know, we used to rib each other about, you know, council wife and council husband. But you know what? After the past 10 years, we've gotten into fights, we've gotten into arguments, we haven't talked to each other for days. Yeah, it is the council marriage. Basically, it's, you know, that's what it's about. You know, so I just want to thank everybody. Joanne, you've been amazing. Grace, Danielle, Marie, Sherry, Dana, Linda. You know, Dana was a part of the clerk's office for years. She was our clerk committees. She was our 10th city councilor for a number of years. She's taught me quite a bit. And, you know, all the constituents, Patty Page, Patty Amaral, Linda McAllister, you know, you go down the list of all these people that show up. Mary Ann Boucher, how fitting is this, that all the meetings you've come to, you're on the panel with the last city council meeting. So it's a pleasure to have you sit with us. I'm honored to know you. I'm blessed that we get to talk to every one of you, every single meeting, reaching out to us, making sure we're on our toes, you're on our heels. That's what makes a good city, is communication. You know, I've said this in the past, we're not always going to agree with each other, whether we're city council or city council and constituents, but we all live in a city. We all do this because we love our city. The council's up here because we love our city. We don't do this for the money. I've lost money working for the city council. I do this because I love my city. You guys come to the city council meeting and explain things to us and talk to us and make sure we do things right. Not because you're getting anything out of it, because you want to make sure you love your city and you want to make sure that you're part of things, and sitting back and complaining from the couch and not do anything is not going to get you anywhere. So kudos to all of you guys that have attended every city council meeting, every P&D, every school committee meeting, O&A. I mean, they go on and on and on. So kudos to you guys for being on top of things and involved. I'm sure I'm gonna be like that in the future. I've already reached out to the new mayor asking to be on a board, and I'm gonna stay involved and informed, and you know, it's been an amazing ride. I'm sorry to see it go, but I'm so looking forward to my next chapter in life and hanging out with my family and my grandkid and everything else,
Grandkids.
the future that holds for all of us. So thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure. Personally, working with you as colleagues and as peers. You know, John, I've had an amazing amount of respect for you when you were on the police force, and to be able to call you a peer and a colleague is just, it's just awesome. You know, I've always looked up to you, and it's nice to be able to talk to each other as peers. And, you know, it's not like, oh man, I'm talking to the cops. I gotta be cool, man, you know? Not like that, but you know what I mean. So
We got to get out for that drink.
it's been a blessing. Yeah. And Joanne, thank you. You've been amazing. And I never in a million years would I have thought that I'm running city council from my kitchen table for the past
Year and a half.
almost 2 years, whatever it's been. It's just mind boggling. So thanks for everybody's help. Thanks for everybody's input. And I'm going to stop at that. I think I'm done. I know. All right. Anybody else?
Steve,
Yes. Oh, Jamie.
Steve,
There we go. Go ahead, bud.
thank you. Sure, thank you. I just wanted to thank Mayor Taken for his service to our city. Councilor LeBlanc, Steve, thank you. You've done a great job for the past 2 years. Councilor Cox, Councilor Holgren, Councilor Pett, thank you. You've done an awesome job. Councilor McCarthy, I can't say enough. As others have said, you are a absolute class act. The police chief, you're the most caring person, most concerned for the citizens of Gloucester. I sincerely mean that and respect you and thank you. I want to thank all the citizens of our wonderful city. Wish them Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's. We're here to serve you. Also, as all city employees, you've done a great job through an extremely rough year. Thank you. On a personal note, I want to thank all the blood donors who have participated at the Magnolia Library. It looks like we're going to exceed over 1,000 units this year. 200 units were just sent to the tornado-stricken states of Kentucky and Iowa. There's such a shortage, so keep it up. And most importantly, I want to thank the men and women of our armed forces, including Coast Guard Station Gloucester. These men and women protect our freedom 24/7, 365, and without them, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. So thank you. Thanks again, Steve.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, everyone. With that being said, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved.
What
and
if we don't want to
seconded.
adjourn, Steve?
You guys can stay. I'm gonna go pour
I'm gonna
myself
hang up on you, Scott.
I'm gonna go pour myself a glass of bourbon and chillax the rest of the night. So I don't know about you guys. All right, we have a motion. And it's been moved and seconded. Councilor Holmgren,
Yes, good night, everybody. Thank you.
Councilor LeBlanc signing off. Yes. Councilor McCarthy,
Yes, it has been my pleasure to work with you all.
Councilor Memhard,
Yes, thank you, one and all.
Councilor Nolan,
Yes, thank you all.
Councilor O'Hara,
Yes.
Councilor Pett,
Yes, and Steve, that'll be a glass of Basil Hayden's to share with you.
thank you, buddy. Councilor Cox,
Yes, final sign off is coming with mixed blessing. So shot a fireball for you, Steve.
thanks. We should have the little walkie-talkies like they do down the fire squad. Councilor Gilman,
Good night, everybody, and thank you.
Thank you, Val. And before we adjourn, Kenny, thank you. Chris, thank you. Appreciate your time staying here for the evening.
Joanne,
Joanne, thank you. And I'm sure I'm going to make my way through city offices over the next couple of weeks and say my personal goodbyes. So motion to adjourn has been passed on a roll call vote of 9 in favor, 0 opposed. All right, we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a good
Good
night.
night, everybody.
good night all.
Night.